This is what you might call a reader's digest of a vestment rather than a story, because it has so many different elements in it. The only conclusion we can reach is that somebody found the best bits of several vestments and decided to make them into a lovely red vestment. The back, we have Moses with the tablets of stone. We have King David with a scroll of the Psalms. Our Lady, the pelican, or is it the dove? I'm not quite sure which. And the crucifixion and St. Andrew. Again, a lot of the background is gold diaper couching. The figures have been worked separately and laid on to the background. You can always tell that because there's been a cord to cover the rough edges of the linen. But very often with these old vestments, the cord would originally have been black. But because of the mordant and the dyes for black at the time, it ate away the silk, so that sometimes there's nothing there, but it's been replaced. The crucifixion is very much worn and is a modern replacement, but the diaper couching at the back is beautiful for a close-up. King David and Moses have come from the same original piece, as possibly has St. Andrew, because of the arches over the figures. Some of the arches are different, so this Ezekiel has come from the same one as Our Lady. So this would denote possibly the reigns of two vestments. What the colours originally would have been, I don't know. It's a lovely silk velvet it's been laid onto. And the braids are much later than the original embroideries. The features on the faces are very fine as well. The same single stitch in silk, and more use of silk rather than ornue in these two figures, but there's a lot of ornue over with the silk over gold in this. Okay. Obviously, the bird, shall we call it, has been restored. I think it may have been ornue originally, but somebody's done a quick make-up job on it. There again, whether the blue is for Scotland. Again, this vestment was probably credited as being either English or Flemish, and I would push for Flemish, but there was no word of it in the displenishment. So whether it had been taken, whether they'd been taken at the same time, because the Tailors' Guild would have had vestments for all the liturgical colours, some that we don't even use these days. The best piece of embroidery in this vestment is on the chalice veil again. If you look at the back, do notice that the background is couched, diaper couching, in a very fine gold thread held down with silk in an almost trellis pattern. Now, when you realize that each strand of gold was laid down separately, and you look at it, in a vestment, there would probably be several miles of passing used, several miles of gold thread. The design would probably, for the background, have been drawn out onto the linen, and as the embroiderer worked from the horizontal, well, that would have been probably worked probably on the horizontal as it usually is. Each strand is laid separately and worked down, and they would know where to put the holding stitches by the design on the linen behind. So it must be a very fine linen, very fine threads. Again, the facial features are lovely, and the garments are ornue for the cloak or the overmantle, and silk work for the main gown. The hands have been restored, and a little bit of the head, but it's a beautiful piece of medieval embroidery. Again, the black has obviously been a more modern addition, because the old black would have rotted.
Thank you so much for watching these videos about the Scottish Catholic Heritage Collections Trust and our wonderful treasures. Blair's Museum is located just outside of Aberdeen, and we are open from April until September. And you can learn about visiting arrangements and how to book your ticket at www.schct.org.uk. And when you get here, you can learn all about the history of Catholicism, Mary Queen of Scots, the Jacobites. You can help us by purchasing goods from our shop. You can also do that online, or you could also support us by donating to us online.